Hello and welcome back to another lecture. When you create a CodeBuild project, CodeBuild will launch a container that it will use for your build job. So in this lecture, we will create shell scripts for the things we want to install on the container. And as it relates to our project, we will create shell scripts to install Terraform, configure a profile, and run the Terraform command. To create the shell script, open your project folder in Visual Studio Code. And once you've opened your project folder, we are going to create another folder in our project folder. To create another folder in our project folder, right-click anywhere in here and select New Folder. Make sure you select New Folder, not New File. Select New Folder. Then give the folder a name. I'll call the folder CICD. The name we call this folder doesn't really matter, but I want you to call it CICD so that way we know that we are going to put all of our CICD script in this folder. So once you've called the folder CICD, press enter. Remember what we said previously. We have to install Terraform on the container that CodeBuild will use for the build job. So the first shell script we will create is the shell script to install Terraform on the container. To create the shell script, right-click on the CICD folder you just created and select New File. So this will create a file in that folder. Then call the file install terraform.sh. Make sure you type it like this. Once you've typed it, press enter. Once you have created your shell script file, I want you to open the reference shell script that I created for this lecture in this video's description. This is the reference file to install Terraform on a Linux container. So what I want you to do is select everything in this reference file and copy it. I'll press Ctrl A to select everything and I'll right click to copy. Once you copy everything here, close it. Then in the install terraform.sh file you created, paste it in there. If you want to install Terraform on a Linux machine, this is the command you will use. And most of you always ask me, where do you get the commands from? I'll show you. To get the commands to install Terraform on a Linux machine, I don't make these commands up. These commands already exist in the Terraform documentation. All I did is copy those commands and paste them in my shell script file. So let me show you what I did. To show you how I got the commands to install Terraform on a Linux machine, open Google. In Google, type install Terraform. Once you type install Terraform, press enter. Then under your search results, where it says www.terraform.io, select that one. This is the Terraform documentation to download Terraform. And we want to download Terraform on a Linux computer. So I'll select Linux here. Once you select Linux, we will install Terraform on the Amazon Linux computer. So I'll select Amazon Linux here. And there you go. These are the commands to install Terraform on an Amazon Linux computer. All I did was copy these commands. And I'll paste this command in the shell script just to show you. In my shell script, I'm going to press enter down here and paste those commands in there, for example. You will see that this command here is the same as the one here. You will also see that this command here is the same as the command on line 10. And you will also see that the command on line 20 is the same as the command on line 13. So whenever you ask where do you get the commands from, know that we don't make the commands up. You have to look in the documentation to find the commands of what you are trying to do. So in this case, we are trying to install Terraform on a Linux computer. We looked in the Terraform documentation and got the command to install Terraform on a Linux computer. This is pretty much how you make up your shell script. I'm going to delete this. I only paste it in here to show you. Then over here on line 15 and 16, I only add this command. Once we have installed Terraform, we want to run terraform -- version to verify that Terraform was successfully installed. The other command I have in this shell script is on line 4, and this will allow this shell script to fail if there is any error in it. And as we have done in the previous lecture, in order to run your shell script, you have to enter a shebang here. A shebang is #!bing /bash. This will allow your shell script to run. So this is the shell script we will use to install Terraform. The next thing I want you to do is save your file. I'll select File and select Save All. The second shell script we will create is the shell script we will use to configure a named profile on the container. So what I want you to do is right-click on your CI/CD folder and select New File. Give the file a name and call the file configure named profile.sh. Type it like this. Once you have typed the name of your file, make sure you type configure named profile.sh and press enter. The name of the files we are using doesn't really matter, but I just want you to use the same name that I'm using so that way you can follow along and you don't have any error when we create the build spec in the next lecture. To create the shell script file that we will use to configure a named profile on the container, I want you to open the reference file I created for this lecture in this video's description. This is the shell script file we will use to configure a named profile on the container. So what I want you to do is select everything in this reference file. Once you select everything, right-click to copy it, then close it, then come back to your file and paste it in there. To explain what is in this reference file, remember to run our shell script file, we have to add a shebang in the beginning, and that's what you see here. Then on line 4, we add this command so that the shell script fails if there is any error in it. Then on line 7 to 9, this is how you configure a named profile on your computer. Remember, anytime we create a user with programmatic access and we want to store that user's credentials on our computer, we will type AWS configure, then it will ask us for the user's access key ID. Once we enter the access key ID, it will ask us for the user's secret access key. Once we enter the user's secret access key, then it will ask us for the region. That is exactly what we are doing here. We are using AWS configure to set the user's access key ID for a profile. The profile is what we will use in our Terraform project. Then we are also using the AWS configure set to set the user's secret access key to the profile name. Then we are also using AWS configure to set the region to the user's profile name. The reason why we are using AWS configure set here is when we run these commands on the container, we won't be able to interact with the container to enter the access key ID and secret access key. So how we are going to pass our credentials to the container is we are going to use environmental variables. So for everything you see here with the $sign, this is the environmental variables. In the next lecture, you will see how we can pass the actual values of this access key ID and secret access key to the container. Once we have configured a named profile on the container, we are just using the command on line 12 to verify the named profile we just configured. This will print the named profile we configured on our screen so we can verify that we configured it successfully. This is the second shell script we will use in our build job. So what I want you to do is save it. I'll select File and select Save All. The third shell script we will create is the shell script we will use to apply our Terraform command. So this is the shell script that will run our Terraform init, Terraform apply, and Terraform destroy. So what I want you to do is right-click on your CI/CD folder and select New File. Give the file a name and call the file apply terraform.sh. Make sure you type the name of your file like this, apply terraform.sh. Once you have typed the name of your file, press enter. The next thing I want you to do is open the reference file I created for this lecture in this video's description. This is the reference file we will use to apply the Terraform commands. What I want you to do is select everything in this reference file, then right-click to copy it. Once you copy it, close it. Then in your shell script, apply terraform.sh, paste it in there. In this reference file, on line 7, I have the command to change directory. We will see what this is doing when we create our build spec. Then on line 10, we have the command to run Terraform init. Then once we've run Terraform init, on line 13, we will run Terraform apply with auto approve. The reason why we have auto approve here is because remember when you run Terraform apply on your computer, you have to type yes to accept the plan. But when we run the Terraform apply on the container, we won't be able to interact with the container to accept the plan. So here we are using auto approve. This means that when we type Terraform apply, it will auto approve the plan for us. This is the shell script we will use to apply our Terraform project in the build job. So what I want you to do is save this file. I'll select file and select save all. That is all we need to do for this lecture. If you have any questions or there's any part you don't understand, please leave your comments below. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next lecture. Bye.